great weekend. I just got back from the York train show yesterday and I wanted to make a video on my experience there. I left for the show early in the morning on Thursday, April 24th, and I took a flight to O'Hare and then to Harrisburg from Chicago. Once I landed in Harrisburg, I got a rental car and drove down to the York train show. The first day was relatively uneventful. I wandered the Orange Hall, met up with a few people, and even talked to the MTH booth for a little bit. I only stayed there for a couple hours, however, because I had had a very early morning. The busiest and most social day of York ended up being that Friday. As you just saw, I was one of the first to the show on Friday, and I got to run the 777 nickel plate Burke. I'd been to York a couple times before, and I'd seen trains run on this layout, but I never had gotten to run a train on this layout, let alone the one that the layout owner owned. Friday was the busiest day of the show by far. I ended up taking mostly photos of this show as I was walking around most of the time with the 3 Rails 4 Dads minus Mike. Most of my video was taken on Saturday instead of Friday. I ended up spending most of my day probably wandering the Orange Hall. The Orange Hall is where most of the dealers are, and that's where you're going to get most of the new items and stuff under warranty.
What'd you buy, Dad?
On Friday, I did make one purchase at York, thanks to the help of Joker's Trains on YouTube, and it has not come in yet because I had to ship it from Pennsylvania, but I will make a part 2 to this video once it comes in. I would end up leaving the show around 4 or 4:30, and then my day was not quite over yet. I went to the Linden Diner to hang out with the LOTS, Lighting Operating Train Society dinner, and then I went to the Lower Susquehanna Valley Modular Railroad.
right here.
Does it have that on it?
Give him the
Has
number
that?
text.
Where's my heart?
And then I'll just have him reverse back. And then once get far enough where I can shove it back by hand.
I'm the oldest.
Take offense to that.
The members of the Lower Susquehanna Valley Modular Railroad allowed York attendees to come and run whatever trains they bought at the show to test them out and get some runtime on the layout. I wanted to give a huge shout out to the members of the Lower Susquehanna Valley Modular Railroad for opening their clubhouse to York attendees to come and hang out. From experience, I know that putting on an event like that takes a lot of planning and coordination, and I thank the Lower Susquehanna Valley for opening their doors, not just to people who were just invited by name only, but to anybody who showed up at the show. I don't think I got to the hotel till probably about 11 that night, but I was trying to get out of the show at the Lower Susquehanna Valley, but they were having a building that they're renovating and had some issues with structural things going on, and they had the fire department out front blocking the road. Fortunately, the Lower Susquehanna Valley was not affected, so the trains kept running and people kept hanging out. It was a great night, and once I got back to the hotel, I went to bed and got ready for the next day. The last day of the show was a little bit lighter attended, but that probably was because it was raining outside and a little bit cooler in that morning. Like I mentioned earlier, this was the day that I got most of my footage of the Orange Hall, but I ended up going to the Silver and Blue that day as well.
traveling O gauge lane.
Saturday, I did go to the blue and silver halls, but I didn't buy anything as I was trying to be conscientious of my shipping and trying to get it out of York to home. I would say if you're looking for something in particular in the blue or silver halls, the better day to go is the Thursday or Friday of York. Saturday, it's going to be a little harder to find stuff in the blue or silver halls, especially at the price you want to pay for a used item. But honestly, part of the fun is just looking through all the stuff in these halls and seeing what deals you can find or make. But like I said, I had to be very conscientious about what I was going to ship home, and I didn't want to just get a few cars and ship them individually. I wanted to actually get sets, but there weren't quite as many passenger and freight sets at this year's York. I think part of the explanation of why there wasn't quite as much new stuff at this show was probably because the tariffs are starting to impact the manufacturers, and they're starting to slow down and kind of wait for the political instability to kind of even out and then decide what they're going to ship and when. That did affect how much was at the show, but it wasn't so bad that you couldn't find anything. Overall, I'd still recommend going to the show if you're in the area, or if you want to meet the Instagrammers and YouTubers and influencers in the hobby. The manufacturers don't all come out now, but I did see MTH here this time, and that was awesome to see one of the manufacturers come and still have some representation at a show like this that was historically where all the manufacturers would come. As for Fall York, I am planning on being there if my work and vacation permits, but that's still a little up in the air at the moment, and I will let you know when I figure that out. Like I said, this is a part 1 to 2 parts of my Spring York video. The next part should be a lot more action, as I will be showcasing what I got at the show. Like I said, be on the lookout for part 2 here in the next couple weeks or so. I should be doing a combination review and recap video of this purchase. If you like what you see, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, and ring the bell button if you want some notifications with my next videos coming out. Now that Spring York is over, there is a bit of a hiatus where I'm at with train shows, so that'll give me time to get some of the backlog worked on and get some more reviews out. I look forward to this fall especially, as there will be some more train shows and some more events coming here in the near future. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you soon in another one. Thanks.